Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to League of Europe. We are here for more Formula 2 action. It is round 9 of the championship for Season 5, as we take in, of course, the Singapore Grand Prix from the Marina Bay Street Circuit. Not the Yas Marina Bay, I think, as I last called it when we came here. My name is James Head, of course, taking you through the stream, and joining me in the commentary box, it is Mr. Michael Edwards. Mike, how you doing?
I am doing fantastic. A personal favourite track this is of mine. It's right up there for me. Always great for action. Very, very tricky track. Longest race on the entire calendar in terms of time.
In terms of time, yeah, it's not the longest in terms of the track. I think it's 5.3 kilometres in length, if my mind serves me right. But what we do have, and if it's anything like the last time we came here in Formula 2 last season, Rocco did a 3-wide move going around the outside of Turn 1. I'm not expecting anything less from him here tonight. So Rocco, if you're listening, please do it for me. Otherwise, you're going to end up disqualified for the rest of the championship. Toxic on 289 points leading the way. Coming into tonight, of course, fresh from his sprint race win and fresh from his 6th place in the feature race as well. Ruta second on 238 in second. Verstappen in third on 228. Rocco in fourth on 219. Of course, our feature race winner last time out. Campbell in fifth on 179. Larkin in sixth on 143. Miami in seventh on 139. Nathan eighth on 138. Zerman 9th on 133 and Brenton 10th on 132. Very close between 6th and 10th there. RJDW's in 11th on 102. Nolan on 75. Pharrell Fury on 61. Nathan, CRL Nathan on 58. Sofian on 48 and 15th. M Short 16th on 32. Josh 17th on 26. Chill 18th on 23. He's not making it tonight. Benny in 19th on 10. Killer Blue on 9. And Yono in 21st on 4 points. And looking into tonight's action, Mike, of course, we've got a couple of minutes until we get going. Sprint race action, of course, last time out, Toxic won. Started 6th on the grid, of course, in the feature race. He has really got the championship now. Maybe one hand on that championship going into next week?
Well, it all depends on his performance here tonight. Because if Toxic, for example, if this is one of his bogey tracks. He didn't have it at Baku with the walls, but let's say like tonight he clips a few walls. It could be a real opportunity for Verstappen and for Ruta to really close up. And with 4 rounds to go, including this one, it's still all to play for.
It is still all to play for. Hopefully we get a better attendance than this. We've got 11 drivers in now. We are expecting 14. Toxic is the one that has just joined. But 11 drivers, a bit disappointing from the Division 1 standards, considering we had a full grid to start off the season. In terms of constructor standings coming into tonight, BWT are pretty much there in terms of the championship. They're on 468 points. Surely cannot be caught now. Arc Grand Prix in second on 294. MP Motorsport third on 282. High Tech in fourth on 271. Univirtuosi in fifth on 264. Prima sixth on 251. Massive gap down to Trident in seventh on 136. Carlin eighth on 112. Dams ninth on 109. Campos and Chiru, of course, not picking up any points so far this season. And Mike, coming into tonight, of course, BWT, HWA Race Lab, they've pretty much got this Constructors' Championship wrapped around their little finger.
Yeah, I'm just quickly trying to do some maths in my head real quick. I think it's 320 points still available, maximum.
I think they might wrap it up tonight, to be honest, because if there's 320 points available, pretty much averages out at what, 80 points around? So if they score 60 odd points and jump ahead of Arc Grand Prix, it's pretty much nigh on set that BWT are going to win the Constructors' Championship. And I think they could possibly wrap it up here tonight, or it'll definitely be next week, of course, in Austria. But regardless, it is going to be fascinating to see, of course, what happens out on track, and 11 drivers here to do battle around Singapore, and Singapore, of course, being the home of the capital, which is Singapore. Did you know that? I didn't.
Well, Singapore's the capital of Singapore.
Singapore is the capital of Singapore. It's Singapore City, it's classed as. It's official now.
We don't have Mexico.
Yeah, I don't have Mexico, but there we are. Yeah, Singapore. It's Singapore in Singapore. It's so confusing, but they do. The capital basically is the same as the country's name. Simple as that, because it's its own independent nation. Marina Bay Street Circle, though, 5 kilometres in length, and we should be seeing some great action, of course, out on track there with the 3D rest zones, one down the start finish straight, one down in towards turn 7, in towards Memorial Corner, and then one in towards turn 13, just on the exit of turn 13 out of the hairpin across the Anderson Bridge, all the way down in towards turn number 14. But we're just seconds away from getting going out on track. Of course, good luck to all of the drivers that are being here tonight. There's only 9 drivers in Formula 2, which was really disappointing. 11 drivers here as well, Mike. But it does create for one-shot qualifying that mix of they've got to get a really good lap time in.
Yeah, absolutely. And tyres are also going to be a crucial point in this race, because this is a very high degradation track. Tyres can overheat very quickly and they can drop off just as quick as that.
Could indeed. And looking at the Discord as well, Zerdema saying very disappointing turn up, and Toxic actually saying that 11 plus 9 we could have had a full 1 race grade, but that's interesting. Ooh. Full wet conditions.
That is definitely throwing a little bit of spice into the works here in the qualifying. And honestly, the dry, it's difficult to do this track in the dry. In the wet is going to be absolutely on the limits every single corner.
It's like, honestly, skating around an ice rink. It's probably as close as what is necessary, really, out on track, without the drivers losing it. Of course, this is kind of like Monaco, getting very close to the walls. We should see some end plate damage, I think, out on track. We might even see a few crashes out on track as well. But with 11 drivers, hopefully, this might create one of the best races of the season. Who knows? Once our qualifying, though, about to begin, and we're going on board with XL Zerdema around the final corner. A lap time around here in the wet, it's going to be nothing short of about 2 minutes, I would say. Probably just under 2 minutes. As Zerdema now runs all the way down in towards turn number 1. And let's see how he's going to get on out on track. Coming through turn 1, through turn 2. It's treacherous already as he now comes through turn 3. Toxic Nathan just in behind him. Zerdema is actually one of the top guys at this stage. Toxic out on top though. So now come out of turn 3 up towards turn number 4. And then through the Kinker 5 here. Runs out wide. You can see how difficult it really is to control these cars. Out on track, he's in Luca Giotto's car, of course, Zerdema. And Zerdema now coming through the kink at 6, on the run down towards Memorial Corner at turn 7. And that's to 34.8 through the first sector. It's Toxic still out on top. Zerdema absolutely skates out wide. No invalidation picked up because he backed off the throttle. But he's going to be really, really close to the walls. He comes out now through turn 7, then through turn 8, and then down in towards Singapore's thing of turn 9. And again, Zerdema runs out very wide indeed. There's no real natural racing line out on track. It's Toxic, Verstappen, Nathan, your top 3 currently. Zerdema now down in towards the Singapore's thing. Used to be a chicane, of course. Used to be 24 corners around here, not 23. Zerdema now coming across the Anderson Bridge. Onto the Anderson Bridge he comes now, and comes down in toward the hairpin. Very, very hard to break into the hairpin. You can just see the car just completely oversteers out of the corner. And Zerdema now running down in toward the end of the middle sector. We'll see, of course, how that pairs up to the likes of Toxic. 25.7 through the middle sector. 125.7, I should say, through the middle sector. So now it comes out of turn 14. And then to probably the trickiest section on the course. This is through 15. Then through 16, and then in towards turn 17, this left-hander, of course, where Renault Gaze happened in 2008. The Marina just off to the right-hand side, and Zerdema, my God, he was close to the wall there. I don't know if he didn't pick up any damage. It's an absolute mystery, to be honest. Zerdema now coming through. It's already a 2-minute lap time around here, and Zerdema coming through the final couple of corners, through 21 and then through the double left at 22 and 23. 2-minute 10 lap times is what we're going to be looking at, I think. Coming across the line, it's Toxic with a 207.9, Zerdema with a 210.6. But one thing that we can tell, that's probably one of the starkest qualifying sessions I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, the gulf between first and second is, I think this is the biggest gap I've seen in the F2 races for a very long time.
1 second is the gap between Toxic and Nathan, and Toxic is out on top with a 207.9. Nathan second on 209, Flatton second, Campbell in third 209.2, Verstappen fourth 209.3, then another second gap down to Rocco in fifth on 200 with a 2 minute 10.4, Zernimus sixth with a 210.6, Journal seventh with a 212.3, Pharrell Fury eighth with a 212.6, and Larkin ninth with a 213.5. Rooter and RJDW both invalidate their lap times and they're starting right at the back of the field. And Toxic has already got the extra points, of course, taken from this qualifying session, one-shot qualifying, and hopefully it is going to provide some great racing. But whatever happens out on track, it is going to be really interesting to see, as that is one site that I'm very glad of seeing. It's dry.
Yeah, I think not only us in the commentary box, but also them on the track are glad to see it is dry conditions here for the feature race. And with Ruta, obviously just exceeding the track limits, he's down at the back. He's got his championship rival, Toxic, on pole position. You got Verstappen in fourth. This is a crucial race for Ruta. If he wants to try and close in on Toxic, but if he wants to keep second place in the championship at the moment.
Yeah, both a crucial race for Ruta and a crucial race as well for Verstappen, I think, as well. He's down in fourth position, but he's more than a second off the pace going into the end of one-shot qualifying. The formation lap, of course, is about to begin. Toxic, by the way, saying he was running 54 brake bias. That's why he said a 207.9, and effing sexy was his comment straight after that. But Toxic is going to be the man to beat, hopefully out on track. 17 laps awaiting these guys around probably one of the longest races of the season. Toxic, interestingly, on a set of soft compounded tyre. They're probably the best tyre to be on at this early stage of the race. Nathan on a set of super softs, and Nathan not really sure where he's going, to be honest. And I think Toxic and Nathan are going to try and play their games similar to last week, I think.
Yeah, let's hope it's not exactly like that last week. I don't think the track in Singapore would allow for that kind of argy-bargy stuff here. I mean, France, you can get away with it here. I don't think you would be able to get away with it to that extent, but yeah, interesting split on tyre strategies. A lot of guys on the super softs. We got 5 on the soft tyres. Almost an even split.
Yeah, pretty much a 50-50 ratio, I would say. Toxic, Verstappen, Pharrell, Fury, Ruta, and RJW, 3 of the top championship contenders, the top 3 in the championship, all on a set of soft compounded tyre. Nathan Campbell, Rocco, Zerdimer, Pharrell, Fury, and Larkin, all on a set of super softs. In fact, it was Yornel, sorry, on a set of super softs. I don't know why I saw Pharrell Fury's name next with a purple compounded tyre. Toxic is out on top of Nathan in second, Campbell in third, but the tyre wear around this track, it's something like 6% a lap on a set of super softs. They are really not going to last long. The guys in a set of softs could go to maybe lap 9, lap 10, go for a set of super softs towards the end of the race. As we see Campbell coming out through turn 14, luckily no damage on the car, but he doesn't want to be doing that in the race. But the set of super softs, probably not the best tyre to be on in terms of strategy.
No, most likely not going to be the wisest of choice, but it is going to be interesting because they will have the grip advantage early on. So for the likes of Nathan and Campbell and Rocco, just getting ahead of the likes of Verstappen and Toxic are going to be absolutely crucial for them.
Oh! And that is, was that Nathan that was spinning there? That was somebody spinning. I think it was Zerdimer. Yeah, Zerdimer spun. One of the high-tech spinning there. And Zerdimer is the one that is now... Well, he's not even in control of the car by the looks. So Zerdimer is around the final corner. I'd be relying, I think, because he's going too slow. He'll just be wanting to get onto the grid, one would imagine. But Toxic out on top, Nathan second, Campbell in third. We are about to begin. Zerdimer is still stuck there in sixth position. He's not moved. And I wonder if the car, it's going to reset him back to his grid slot, because it looks like he's reset to track, and it doesn't look like he's actually there. Weird goings on here, unless he's just totally spawned on my screen and he's totally stopped.
Yeah, he's stopped for me as well.
Yeah, he's got to get a move on, otherwise we're going to be starting this race probably the next side of Christmas. Unbelievable. I don't know what to say, to be honest. Jav calling me sexy, by the way, is probably the most fun I'm probably going to get out of tonight, if I'm going to be honest. He said that in the comment section. Toxic the Wild on top, Nathan second, Campbell in third. We'll have a look at the rundown towards turn on board with Toxic. He's on the dirty side of the grid. You can see the marbles there, just off to the right-hand side of the car. He's got Campbell and Nathan in behind him. Nathan on the cleaner side of the grid. Again, marbles there off to the left-hand side. But this is probably the cleanest part of the grid that he'll want to be on to try and get a really good start. Campbell's in third, Verstappen in fourth. Not really sure what has happened to Zerdimer. His car is still stuck there, and Zerdimer has no control of the car. He's reset to track about 50 times and it doesn't do anything. So it looks like we've got a glitch, and it looks like we're going to be restarting the race, it seems, as we've gone black screen.
Yeah, completely black screen for us in the combos.
Oh, what? Wait, what? It's lights out and away we go. And Toxic took a great start. Nathan on the inside on. Toxic falls to the cross on the outside. Nathan down the inner, and there's contact between them both. Dead and towards someone. I'm not sure if this is the real start or not, but Nathan dumping it down the inside of Toxic. Quite silly, if I've got to be honest. Nathan leads the way. Rocco all the way around the outside of Campbell, trying to go. They're all on a set of super soft Compana tyre as well. I've just noticed that. This is really strange. What on earth is going on? Are we actually seeing the same race as these guys out on track is what I'm imagining. Zerdimer, by the way, is down in 8th, and he is ghosted. I was going to say he's got control of his car. Oh my god, I don't know what's even going on. Nathan leads the way, Campbell in second, Rocco in third. The weirdest start to the race I think I've ever seen and ever commentated on in my life. Nathan leads the way, Campbell second, Rocco in third. Surely with Zerdimer leaving the session and having a glitch, we've got to restart this.
Yeah, I'm just gonna quickly message on Discord to find out what's happening for Zerdimer, because obviously everyone had their own tyre strategy, but that's just been completely wiped out by this glitch.
A weird glitch. I've never seen this glitch before. Nathan does lead the way, though, out on track. It's Campbell in second, 9/10 down. Rocco in third, Verstappen in fourth. And I think what this comes to show, really, is that this game is not esports ready whatsoever. Verstappen on the back of Rocco for third position. Rocco just getting caught in the curb there through 17, now through 18, then through 19, and then through turns 20 and 21. Underneath the underpass for the first time. And Nathan now leading the way by a good second out on track. All these guys on a set of super softs. Campbell second, Rocco in third. Nothing happening with Zerdimer, it seems, on our end. We're having a look at the Discord. We've got a graphics glitch as well, which even adds to the confusion. But Nathan does lead the way from Campbell in second, Rocco in third, Verstappen fourth, Larkin, Ruta, Yonel, RJDW, Pharrell, Fury, Toxic, and Zerdimer's AI are your top 11. Nathan's streeting away the lad in front, everyone on the same Compana tyre, but it looks like Nathan has got the natural pace compared to Campbell.
Yeah, I'm just quickly in Discord a sec, trying to see what's going on, because not only have we had a glitch for Zerdimer's car, but also the tyre glitch as well.
Unless as Campbell gets caught on the inside curb there, I was going to say, unless the game is completely not glitched on their end, and they've got the set of softs on, and we're seeing everyone on a set of super softs. It could be a spectator glitch as opposed to an on-track glitch, but whatever glitch it is, it shouldn't really be happening in a game like this. But towards the end of the game cycle, Nathan does lead the way coming across the Anderson Bridge for the second time. Hamilton second, Rocco in third, and Rocco chasing him right the way down. Campbell, of course, making that mistake. Coming through turn 8, and now on the run up towards turn number 14 at the end of the middle sector. Rocco right on the back of him. He's in Marcus Armstrong's car, of course, in the Arc Grand Prix. He's got the BWT car of Campbell ahead. Toxic has got damage, by the way, but he has managed to get past Pharrell Fury, who I believe also has damage on the right side end plate. So Toxic is through, and he's into 9th position, and he's hoping to try and chase RJDW and Jono down for 7th. Nathan are leading the way underneath the underpass once again, underneath the grandstand. Nathan, Campbell, Rocco. Zerdimer has managed to take control of his car, it seems, which is a positive in its own right. Nathan does lead. Campbell second, Rocco in third, Verstappen in fourth, in probably one of the craziest races I think we've ever had.
Yep, so Duma just asking then, do we need a restart? I said his goal is most likely just spectator glitch for us, but yeah, we are seeing everyone on the super softs right now. He is responding.
Guessing if he is responding,
it's a spectator glitch. He said everything is everything is fine for him. He can see what tyres everyone's on.
Oh goodness me! So we've got to try and imagine. I think as Verstappen is right on the back of Rocco down in towards Memorial Corner. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1. That's for El Fury. That's round by Verstappen down the inside of Rocco, trying to get the move done. RJW's down the inside of Yono as well. Toxic trying to get in the mix, and Toxic is going to try and go around the outside of both of them, round towards turn number 8. This is going to be a great move from Toxic. He's got damage, and Toxic has absolutely sailed it on RJW with an absolute insane move from Toxic around the outside. Didn't really help with RJW, of course, having that bit of contact on the exit of Memorial Corner, but Toxic's clean sailed it around the outside of him. Division 1 champion of last season against the Division 2 champion of last season. He shouldn't really be doing moves like that. That's an insane move.
Yeah, and also I'm not sure if it just happened on my screen or wherever it is for you as well, but Raul Fury's just all of a sudden switched to the soft tyres.
Oh, it has, yeah, he's on softs. Verstappen, by the way, had contact with Rocco. Rocco's parking the bus now down and towards 16. Now through 17, it's Nathan leading Campbell in second. The front two have absolutely burned away, not boned away, burned away out on track. Larkins in fourth, right behind Rocco. Verstappen, and Ruta is up into sixth, and Ruta's had the best start, I think, of out of everyone out on track. He's gained 4 positions, 5 position gains for Larkin, 3 gained as well for RJDW, as Nathan into the pit lane from the lead of the race. He was on a set of super soft compound tyre, and now he's going to be coming in to set on that set of soft compound tyre. And hopefully there's no spectator glitch and he actually goes on the right compound tyre. And it looks like, yeah, Red Bull tyre, he's on to a set of super softs. Softs even.
Yep, I'm trying to remember who was on the soft tyres. I think Verstappen and Ruta and Toxic, the only ones in the top 6 that were on the soft tyres. I think Larkin, Rocco and Campbell are all on softs.
Oh, and here comes Larkin, down the inside line of Rocco. Oh, and he's absolutely overcommitted. He's in the wall. In the wall he goes. Right side end plate damage. Never getting that car stopped. And Larkin has just lost 3 positions as a result. Rocco, Verstappen, Ruta all the way through. Larkin literally sent it as if England were going to win the Euro 2020, which they're probably not. Larkin down the inside of Memorial Corner. Sent it too much. And he's down into 5th and has got damage.
I was going to say then about the Euros, that's a brief call.
Well, we are joint favourites for the Euros with France, I think. Seeing the betting. It's very weird. We're not favourites to win Eurovision, though, sadly. Campbell out on top from Rocco in second, Verstappen in third, with Ruta in fourth. And yeah, Verstappen and Ruta on that set of soft compound tyre. I know I remember both of them on a set of soft compound tyre. These guys, of course, will be going later on in the race. The likes of Campbell, the likes of Rocco, of course, I think started on a set of super softs, so they'll be hoping to try and get to the end of the race as well. Not on these compound tyres, but of course they'll pit in for a set of softs, which will be the right compound tyre to go on. It is Campbell leading the way, Rocco in second, Verstappen in third, but Verstappen trying to just push Rocco around. It looks like Rocco's parking the bus almost, and Verstappen cannot find a way through as Campbell's into pit lane from the lead.
And Rocco also in.
Oh, and Rocco! Oh! His rear left, I think, got caught on the wall there. He's nearly spun, nearly lost his left side end plate. He hasn't. And Rocco now... Is he going to hold up Campbell? Yes! Rocco has held up Campbell quite considerably there.
That's unfortunate for Campbell, as Nathan is on the pit straight and he's easily going to get out ahead.
Wow.
And it's going to be by some considerable margin as well.
About 4 seconds, 5 seconds maybe coming out of the pit lane. Nathan leads, and yeah, it's going to be about 5 seconds. So, these 6 seconds, in fact. It's Nathan then who is now out on top in terms of the whole grand scheme of this race. He's got to keep it clean. 5.8 seconds to Campbell. Toxic might be the one to watch out for. Toxic's got damage, and he looks like he's got a lot of pace underneath him. He's catching now Ruta, of course, who's on a set of soft compound tyre, and Toxic really beginning to try and hone in on Ruta.
Yeah, he just clipped the wall there. No damage for him. when he clipped the wall, but he's definitely testing his luck with the walls here at Singapore.
Is it the brake bias that might be the big advantage? Because look at that, he's just pulled 2/10 away from RJDW, and RJDW is no slouch at all, and he has gained 0.5 of a second out of the hairpin alone on Wuta.
Might be that brake bias, definitely will help under braking, but I think Toxic is just naturally comfortable at this track.
I think he is naturally comfortable. We saw that, of course, in qualifying, but now Toxic is right on the back, and he's trying to close in on Ruta. Ruta, I don't think, has got any damage as well. The understeer is coming through the final corner. Toxic is chasing him down. It's 1.7 seconds the gap. RJW in behind as well. Zerma is into the pit lane. He's coming on from a set of super soft compound tyres onto a set of softs. So I believe everyone now who were on a set of softs originally have now, set of super softs I should say, have now come in and have gone onto the set of softs. And what you're seeing is Verstappen, Ruta, Toxic, RJW and Pharrell Fury. Pharrell Fury, I think, has came into the pit lane obviously to prepare his front wing. That's why he's on a set of super softs. Verstappen, Ruta, Toxic and RJW though, they're on a set of soft compound tyre. Out on track, they are on a set of soft compound tyre. Oh, is that Verstappen in the wall?
Yeah, Verstappen in the wall. Front left wing damage on that car for Verstappen, as I have. Yep, I had a spectator menu glitch. You love to see it. Yeah, fun.
Oh no, Verstappen hitting the wall has now put him on a set of soft compound tyre. This is unbelievable. Ruta's trying to get past him though, nonetheless. And look at Toxic. Toxic right on the back of this as well. Verstappen is pretty much now under so much pressure from Ruta, and Toxic has got an insane run on the back of Ruta. He's going to try and look down the inside line. And he does look down the inside line. Oh, and he doesn't get the car stopped, and he's put Ruta in the wall. Toxic just misjudged his braking point completely, put Ruta in the wall, no other way. It was either hit Verstappen or hit Ruta. It's as simple as that. He chose the latter, and Ruta ends up in the wall. He's now got damage, and Verstappen, currently out in the lead of the race, is this race all of a sudden looking maybe for RJW to get a podium.
I mean, maybe. I mean, right now he's got two cars in front of him, both with wing damage. As Verstappen's into the pits now, he's definitely going to repair that front wing. I think no, he stays out. Ruta's staying out. But this is going to be very interesting now. RJDW with a fresh front wing. Is he going to be able to put Toxic under pressure?
Is he going to try and clean sail it like Toxic did to him just a couple of laps ago on lap 7 out of 17? And it's Toxic who leads, RJW in second. Ruta now on a set of soft compound tyre. He's got damage as well on the left side as he nearly runs wide coming out of turn 5. On the through 6 and 7, and yeah, RJW not close enough to try and get the move done this time around, but Toxic will be hoping to try and get towards the top end of the field come the sprint race. And the sprint race, of course, all important as Rocco and Zerma are now through on Verstappen, and so is Larkin. So Verstappen with that front wing change dropping all the way down the field from what could have been a 5-second pit stop in Formula 1 turned out to be a 13-second pit stop, and now he's got Yono right on the back of him.
Yeah, and this is, I think, is a good indicator of where the likes of Toxic and Ruta will re-emerge once they make their pit stops. I think, depending on if Toxic wants to change that front wing, he's definitely got pace even with the damage. He might elect to not change the wing.
I don't think he will. If he's got pace, then I think he'll probably come in just for a pure set of super soft compound tyre towards the end of the race. RJW will be hoping, of course, to try and get to the end on that compound tyre, and then, well, obviously pit in, and then get to the end on that compound tyre as well. But Zerma on the back of Rocco, 6th and 7th position. These two are fighting out for one Excel driver and one Relentless driver. You do like to see it, of course, here in Division 1 of Formula 2 action here in League of Europe as
Ruta, big massive rear end snap in the final sector, and he's into the pits.
Yeah, clip the wall on the inside line there as well, coming into the pits, and Ruta now is going to be dropping behind Zerdeman, behind Larkin, behind Verstappen possibly as well, as he now comes into pit lane. Purple set of tyres going on, that's a set of super softs. Of course, they can only put on 2 wheels at any one time, but with that front wing change, it just makes things a hell of a lot more pacier for the pit crew to try and get out, and the Universal Rossi is going to be well behind. Rocco, Zerdeman, Larkin, Verstappen are just coming down the pit straight now. Ruta and Rocco to the left-hand side, they go through screenshot. Larkin is through, Verstappen is through, and do you know what? I think he's going to be behind Yorno here as well. Ruta is going to really lose out because of this front wing change. He is now behind Yorno when he's down in 10th position, but crucially he's on a set of super softs as Zerdeman right on the back of Rocco.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at this right now. 10.6 seconds, a gap between Toxic and Nathan. I mean, we do give Nathan a lot of flack for bottling potential wins and everything, but he's in that spot again.
He is in that spot again, but he's got more of a buffer to make a mistake. I think he's got 5.8 seconds to Campbell, and that's net lead of the race. So Nathan has pitted slightly earlier for this set of soft compound tyre, and he is the one that is reaping the rewards out on track, because the undercut is so powerful around here. It's something like a 3-second undercut, even at the best of times in the Formula 2, but with a front wing change, it's even bigger than that. It's something like 13-14 seconds. Nathan then, coming underneath the grandstand, he's 5.7 seconds clear. It just looks like Campbell, though, looks to me as if he might be getting onto the back of him. Zerdeman's trying to chase down Rocco as well. Ruta has picked up a penalty just out of the hairpin, I believe. So that is now him with a 3-second penalty. It's Toxic leading the way, RGW in second. Division 1 champ of last season against Division 2 champ of last season. But Toxic has got natural pace compared to RGW, who is now struggling on that compound tyre.
Yeah, so if I was RJ, I would be thinking about a potential undercut on Toxic here.
Does he come into the pit lane this lap, though, to try and perform that undercut? Because we've seen Verstappen and Ruta coming in for El Fury as well on the set of super softs. Does he come in now, try reap the rewards of that, or does he let Toxic try and get away from him, and then RGW, if Toxic makes another mistake, he'll be right on the back of him?
I think RJ would rather have the clear air, because I think when he makes his pit stop, he should be, I think, around about where Rocco is potentially, maybe just ahead.
Yeah, he might be just ahead. It's something like 28 seconds a pit stop around here normally. RGW is on the back of Toxic, and I'm right on board with him in terms of his pits, in terms of his live stream as well. Nathan, by the way, has picked up a 3-second penalty. And his rear right tyre, or his front right tyre in fact, it's on 50% at this stage of the race for RGW, and those tyres now begin to go. Toxic looks like he's got the pace, but he looks like he's pushing a little bit too much. So that might mean Toxic's front right is going. You can see the blistering actually occurring right through the middle of the tyre. And RGW all of a sudden now beginning to get onto the back of him. So Toxic might have just pushed these tyres just over the limit slightly. He might be the first one to come in.
Well, here we go now. See, come around towards the final corners. Neither of them come into the pit yet.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. All of that, and none of them come into the pits. It's typical. Verstappen's running back of Larkin, by the way. QVR against XL out on track, and Verstappen trying to chase down the back of Larkin. Larkin under pressure. Verstappen trying to go, maybe for the move down the inside line in towards 17. I don't think he's going to get the move done here. Now through 18. And underneath the grandstand in towards turn 19 with Verstappen really pushing. Zerdeman still on the back of Rocco as well. That's currently for a podium. Out on track, Larkin has picked up a 3-second turn penalty. Verstappen on the back of him. And Verstappen, surely that set of super softs is going to come into play sooner rather than later as he flies out through the final corner, runs wide slightly, but close them down to within 0.3 of a second, running down in towards turn number 1. It's Toxic leading the way. RGW in second, Nathan in third. And Nathan pulling out that gap to Campbell. It's 0.5 he's gained over the last 2 laps for Nathan. And those tyres really begin to come into play as Ruta trying to chase down Yorno as well. But Verstappen on the back of Larkin, trying to hunt him down. 0.4 of a second pretty much throughout this kink down in towards 6 and 7. It's not good enough for him to try and get the move done. Ruta as well on the back of Yorno. And I don't think Yorno is going to be sorry, Wouter is going to be close enough as Verstappen down the inside of Larkin.
Yep, fantastic run here on the exit to get down the inside. He's going to go clean around the outside here. Fantastic move from Verstappen on Larkin.
And Wouter was trying to do the same thing as well, and behind on Yono, trying to go down the inside line, trying to switch back actually coming out of 9, but now Wouter on the back of Yono still, and he's stuck in behind him at probably one of the worst points of the circuit you could ever be stuck behind a person who was slow. Pharrell Fury was tired out on track, and that's through turn 7, through Memorial Corner, and has that deployed a full safety car? It has! Full VSC, full safety car deployed then, Toxic is in, RGW is in, both of them having to stick of course to a delta time. Nathan is coming around the final corner, and Toxic speeds coming into the pit lane. And that is so unfortunate, and now that brings the race entirely up on its head, because Nathan now leads the race, but for how long? Because Campbell's going to be right on the back of him.
Campbell's coming in.
And Campbell's in. So Campbell's into the pit lane. And just Rocco and Zerdimer are going to pit as well. All of these guys may be going onto a set of super softs.
Yeah, I think that would be the right call. Nathan was in a tricky spot. He had to make a call. He chose to stay out. And all the people now behind him that he was racing get to come in. And Rocco actually stays out as well. And I believe he's just going to come out ahead of Toxic to go through turn 1.
Oh, I think Toxic cut the white line there to try and actually combat Rocco. But Rocco's ahead. So Rocco is actually ahead of Toxic, and Toxic is warning that he's there, I think, to be honest. Rocco says you can't overtake basically under a yellow flag, and Toxic I think was just warning him that he's there. And Toxic will be the fastest man out on track. But look at where RJW is. Toxic, of course, that 5 seconds for getting that wing repaired has really cost him. RJDW, I never think I'd be saying this season, RJDW is now in with a chance of winning this.
Yeah, and with Nathan having that 3-second time penalty as well. And the fact that Rocco is the man behind RJDW on the fight on the worn soft tyres, this could be a race win here for RJDW.
It could be a race win, but that's going to put him in a significant disadvantage, of course, for the sprint race out on track, and it is going to be really interesting to see. As our viewers, by the way, has just suddenly gone up. We're up to 11 viewers, which is probably the highest we've had in quite a while here in League of Group Division 1, and of course, if you are listening in, Nathan leading the way, but underneath the safety car with lap 12 about to begin, Nathan out on top, RJW, that man there, and the man that I'm sitting and watching on my iPad, just watching to see what his tyres are like and how is he going to be controlling this. Rocco there in 3rd and Toxic in 4th, but RJW I think telling his viewers that he is probably, well, I would say crapping himself at this stage to try and get onto the back of Nathan, but we're going to be under this safety car for quite a while, I think.
Yeah, it's well, we still got a Router just coming into sector 3 now as the safety car crosses the line to start the next lap.
Nathan desyncing there. Was Nathan desyncing on your screen? He's certainly got the high revving glitch.
Not for me.
Oh, he was desyncing all the way down the straight. He was basically bouncing all the way down the straight. That's the best I could describe it as. He was bouncing down the straight, which looked to me as if it was a desync. And Nathan's on a 1 bar. So this is quite concerning. RJW has probably got to try and get this move done as soon as possible. Rocco, Toxic, Zerdimer now drawn on to the back of the safety car queue. But we are still under yellow flags, still under the safety car. Lap 12 has started. Nathan out on top. RJW in 2nd, Rocco in 3rd. But Mike, coming into the final parts of this race, who is the man you would most like to be in their shoes right now?
I think Campbell.
Campbell? Then 6th?
Yeah, he's got no penalties to his name. He's on a fresh set of supers. And he should be able to get past Zwadima, Rocco and Nathan. I think Campbell will naturally have better pace than RJ. The question is, can Campbell get through the traffic quick enough to really get onto the back?
It's one thing to get onto the back of a driver, and it's another thing to overtake, and I think that just bears a complete resemblance now as we come on towards lap 13 with 5 laps to go. Nathan leading the way, RJW in 2nd. We're still under the safety car. Off to the right hand side there is some very fancy building on the right hand side in Singapore. and Verstappen, Larkin, Ruta and Jono. I think we might be under the safety car, maybe for at least another lap, or we're going to be going this time and let the other guys catch up. But lap 12 out of 17, and Nathan, on a set of softs, is under pressure from that man there. RGW, he's on a set of super softs, and I'd personally like to be in his shoes right now. I'd like to be in RGW's shoes because I know I've probably got the best chance of winning this race out of everyone out on track, as long as he doesn't pick up a 3-second time penalty. And I'd rather be in Zerdimer's shoes as well. He's on a set of soft compound tyre, but he's crucially on a fresher set of soft compound tyre. So, with him and Rocco and Nathan obviously being on that set of softs, he's going to be one of the men to probably try. As Nathan tries to overtake the safety car there. That was quite strange.
Yeah, I don't think that's the best thing to do, Nathan. Might end up with a cheeky drive-through penalty if you try that.
He doesn't want to try that, but I think he's just warning the virtual Marlon that maybe to, well, speed it up out on track. Get a move on, I think he's saying. Nathan out on top, RGW in second. You can see him now just pulling to the right-hand side behind the safety car. And for every night glitch, I will spare everyone's ears, especially if you're listening with headphones on. Nathan out on top, RGW in second. But looking further down the field, it is going to be interesting. Can Nathan hold off RJDW? We have seen it so many times, especially this season, in League of Europe. In Division 1, I know for certain, we had pretty much, towards the end of the race, everyone go on the same compound tyre, and hardly any of them could try and get the overtake done. Nathan is the man controlling this pace. Does he control it to an extent where he puts RJW and Rocco into a bit of a mistake and now brings Toxic possibly into play?
I think for Nathan, he needs to try and help Rocco get ahead of RJDW, because that'll help Nathan out tremendously. But yeah, as you said, he doesn't want to bring Toxic into it, and Zerdimer is going to be there as well, as will Campbell.
He really isn't, and Nathan will be hoping to try and get the best restart possible. Speaking of restart, safety car in this lap, so we will have 4 laps to go after this lap has been completed, and Nathan is the man controlling the safety car. He's the virtual Burt Marlander out on track, and he is the one now controlling the pace, and he is the one probably that is going to go, I would say, on the exit of turn 21. Judging by the slowness of the pace that he's currently going under, he's trying to get as much heat into the tyres as possible, but he is the man controlling this, and the safety car is already coming underneath the grandstand through towards turn 21. Nathan, though, I think he's going to have to wait until the exit of 21, then through 22 and 23, and that is when he will decide to go out on track, because it looks like he's controlling this enough, and he wants to try and get as much run as possible. Zerdimer has got a penalty for collision with the back of Toxic, and I wonder if Toxic might have picked up a penalty in that as well. But Nathan coming through turn 21, turn 20, turn 21, and now he says go, pretty much right at the exit of turn 21. He says go, and Nathan's got a great start. But yeah, Rocco's under pressure from Toxic underneath the restart. Nathan with an absolute stunner of a start. He's 8/10 clear, running across the line. RGW in second, Rocco in third, Toxic in fourth. Everyone being just very easy on the powers. They come through turns 1 and 2, trying to get the hit tyres in, the tyre temps up in their cars. And Nathan now leading the way, controlling from the front. RGW in second, Toxic putting Rocco under a lot of pressure. Campbell putting Zerdimer under a lot of pressure, and Toxic now to the inside line of Rocco through 5, and now through the kink towards turn 6. He's right within the slipstream, pulls to the inside line. He's on the outside line for Memorial Corner. Campbell as well, trying to go on the outside line in towards Memorial Corner. Toxic tries to clean Salem around the outside. Campbell's down the inside of Zerdimer, has got that move done, and Toxic off track gets the move done on Rocco. Verstappen trying to get in there as well on Zerdimer, and now Zerdimer nearly punched into the wall. Larkin on the outside line tries to go and clean Salem around the outside. Ruta's got a great run coming out through turn 9, and now on the run down towards the Singapore Sling, but Larkin tries to go all the way around the outside of Zerdimer, tries to switch it back, and this will be a great move from Larkin if he can pull it off. Zerdimer's still trying to fight him. Larkin on the inside line gets caught on the curb. Zerdimer fighting side by side. Larkin tries to pull it off, but Zerdimer with a great defence is still in 7th position. Now not for long, because Larkin's got a great run, and yeah, Rocco and Campbell going side by side further down the field. RGW catching Nathan as well, but Larkin is through on Zerdimer. Is he From the outside he goes, he does get the move done. Rocco and Campbell still side by side as well. Great restart here in Singapore. As the race lap tries to go all the way around the outside of the Arc Grand Prix, and Rocco has had to relinquish position. Campbell with a great move around the outside. He is through and he's into 4th. Rocco down to 5th. Absolute mayhem, madness, but what a restart.
Yeah, I was just on board with Ruta. He was trying in the incredibly tricky section of, I believe it's turns 15, 16 and 17. He was trying side by side with Sodema to try and get our move done. Unfortunately unable to do so, but what this has done now, I mean, RJDW has picked up a penalty, so you mentioned it, to not pick up penalties. He's picked up a penalty, and now Campbell is the man in the best position to win this race.
He is, but RJW looks like he might have the pace on Nathan, and the gap currently between Nathan and Campbell, well, it's 3 seconds, pretty much out on track. It is 3 seconds dead on in towards Memorial Corner, but Campbell now will catch Toxic. Nathan has got to try and hold these up as much as possible to try and not relinquish that position. RJW and Toxic right on the back. Toxic got 8 seconds worth of penalty. You can see him weaving behind the likes of Campbell. I think Rocco, by the way, has just been overtaken by Verstappen. Verstappen is now through and he's into 5th. Rocco tried to go around the outside. Larkin is now down into 7th. But RGW now going side by side with Nathan, coming across. Again, that bounce effect going on. Bit of a desync maybe with Nathan, as he absolutely wheels the tyres coming off, and now Toxic right on the back of RGW. Coming down the straight, RGW, contacted back down the back end there by Toxic. But Toxic still stays in 3rd. RGW though, Nathan is putting up a stoic defence, but Nathan has got to be clean in his defence, and that's crucial, because RGW looks like he's going to get past. But, to be honest, the more that Nathan holds RGW up, the more it's going to bring Toxic possibly into play to take both of them.
Yeah, and right now, look at that gap between Nathan and Campbell. It's down to 2.2 seconds now. So Campbell is now being brought into play. He'll be on the back of this train very soon. Yeah,
he's 1.5 seconds on the back, and RGW now right on the back of Nathan. Running down in towards turn 1. Campbell, new fastest lap of the race, 1:52.6. And it's currently enough to give him, of course, that fastest lap point. Nathan leading the way. RGW in 2nd. Toxic in 3rd. Campbell hunting him down. BWC hunting down the constructors as well. By the end of tonight, Nathan, though, absolute stoic in his defence as he's going to try and defend this as much as possible. RJDW now, though, is running right at Nathan, and Nathan is going to have to try and pick his line here. RJW to the outside line. Has he got the overspeed to try and get this move all the way around the outside? Nathan is very late on the brakes, but look at Toxic. Toxic now put into play. RJW will be complaining about that. Toxic tries to go all the way around the outside. RJW tries to fight back, but Toxic gets the run. Now down the inside of Nathan. They both make contact. They both make contact, and RJW is going to get a great run. And RGW is now side by side with Toxic, and the Division 2 champion takes the Division 1 champion. RGW through into the lead of the race. Toxic in 2nd. Nathan and Toxic's battle from last week come back to haunt them.
Yeah, and that was absolutely too much from Toxic on my end, and you can't go for a move like that, Toxic. You really can't.
Yeah, reckless abandon, as we said last week, I'm sure, and that's just coming back to haunt them, and Nathan's all the way down now in 4th position. The driving, I know that they said last week it's banterous. It's really not banterous now out on track. It is pretty much a war between them both. RGW leading the way, just looks up in towards 17 there. Now Toxic putting him under a sustained pressure. Look in front of you instead of behind, I would say, to RGW at this stage. But Campbell is in the perfect position to try and take this win. And you mentioned it, you would be like to be in his shoes right now. And I'm not blaming you, to be honest. Campbell has now got no penalties out on track. Toxic has got 8 seconds. RGW has got a penalty as well. Nathan has now got 6 seconds. And Campbell is the one that is going to be winning this race. On to the final lap we go, though. I never thought I'd say this. Division 2 champion against Division 1 champion for the race lead.
Yep, the top 3 right now, all former champions. RJDW Division 2, Toxic Division 1, and Campbell a former Division 1 champion.
And there's Toxic right on the back of RJW running down the straight. He's going to try and switch it to the inside line. Running in towards Memorial Corner. RJW on the outside line. And Toxic sends it down the inside line. That's how you complete a move. But look at RJW switch back on the outside line. Trying to get the move done. Campbell's right on the back of this as well. Look at the switch back again from RJW. But the traction of Toxic just so superior. And Toxic has now got the lead of the race. Well and truly. And that was masterful from Toxic. RJW now in second. Campbell in third. When Toxic really puts his mind to it, he can pull off a move like that any day of the week, and he made it look pretty easy, and now he begins to pull away.
Yeah, absolutely. As RJDW right now, I don't want to put added pressure on him right here, but at the moment he is borderline on for second place. Sorry, not second. That's my bad. I forgot Verstappen also had a few seconds. I tell you, who's having a run now on Nathan.
Oh, and he's trying to go round the outside line, down the inside through 16, puts Nathan nearly into the wall, but a job done from Verstappen. He's thrown into the fourth. Nathan picked up a damage as well with that contact with Toxic. Right side end plate damage on the car, but Toxic coming around the final corner. Well, whatever you make of it, he is going to win. Personally out on track, but Toxic is now through the final two corners, through 22 and 23, and it's Toxic who takes the win. But for how long? Not very long, because it is Campbell who takes the win. RJDW is going to get second, his first podium of the season.
Whoa.
Rocco gets third out on track, and Rocco is on the podium. Absolute scenes. Rocco third. I don't think he even had a penalty out on track, and that's why he got up to third. Driver of the Day award by the in-game fans. RJW. I totally agree.
Yep, I think that's one of the only times that we'll actually agree with the game.
Very rare. It might glitch, but we do agree sometimes with the game, and I'm very glad to say that on the stream. But it is Campbell who takes the top step of the podium. No penalties, the order of the day, and he's going to be starting, of course, in 8th position for the reverse grid race, and we'll run you through the grid order, of course. But we see the podium celebrations. Campbell has won. RJW with a great drive. I feel so sorry for him, to be honest. He got caught up in that melee with Toxic and Nathan nearly. And in third, of course, Rocco picking up third out on track. But let's have a look at the full grid order. Campbell out on top from RJW in second, 11th on the grid. Great drive from him. Rocco in third, Verstappen in fourth, Toxic in fifth, Nathan sixth, Larkin, Zerdema, Ruta, Jono in 10th, and Pharrell Fury DNF'd, of course, out the race, calls the safety car, and he was out the race down in 11th position. But Campbell, first blood goes to him.
Yep, Campbell, fantastic drive there to pick up the win and fastest lap. Kept it clean on penalties when everyone else couldn't do so. However, I will say this, RJDW, that is his first Division 1 podium of the season.
His first Division 1 podium, and it comes 4 races from the end in Singapore. And can he get another one? Possibly out on track? That's what we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully there's no more glitches. The sprint race, of course, still to come. I believe there's 11 laps for the sprint race, if I'm not mistaken. And apparently, I have just seen an image released in the TTML Discord. It looks as if the F1 2021 game cover has been announced. And I can say on the front of it, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc is on the front of the cover for F1 2021. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but that's what I've seen.
I mean, I think that's wrong. I think they got a picture of me on the front cover. That's why he's going to sell copies. EA knows.
Nobody even knows what you look like. That's the thing. That's the hidden identity. It's just going to be you with an anonymous mask, I think, on the front of the F1 cover. But we are going to get... we are going to get going, though. Of course, the sprint race still to come, and 12 laps awaiting these guys out on track, and these guys will be hoping to try, of course, and make it a little bit cleaner. No glitches, which I'm glad to say, and Zerderman, the man who actually glitched the lobby, and glitched the start at least, is on reverse grid pole. Larkin second and Nathan in third, but you've got Nathan, Toxic, Verstappen, Rocco together on the grid. The last time Rocco and Verstappen, I think, started on the same row around here in Singapore, he performed 3 wide down in towards turn 1 in the sprint race.
And we just saw what happened when Nathan and Toxic are a bit too close to each other.
Yeah, and we have to... Yeah, Nathan, third and fourth. They're starting on the second row of the grid, of course. RGW and Campbell not entirely out of this. Rooter as well could try and come back. He lost on a goal amount of points out on track. And Yorno down in 10th for Ralph Fury, of course, in 11th. All of the guys on a set of soft compound attire, which means they will get, of course, to the end of the race, and there shouldn't be any pit stops unless there is a safety car deployed, of course, out on track. And Zernimer Larkin will be hoping to try and provide a good battle. We've seen a battle between these two, I think, this season so far, and Larkin was the one that came out on top of that. He's starting in second, Zernimer is starting in first, and he's on the dirtier side of the grid. Larkin could be the one to probably get the best restart.
Yeah, and I'm just quickly looking at the standings a second. So Rocco, he picked up third place, which I think is 20 points for the feature race, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. 25, I think, for feature.
No, for third.
Oh, for third, yeah, 20 points.
Yeah, so I think Rocco right now incredibly close to Rooter in terms of points. Verstappen, I think, has just jumped him now up into second place. So Rooter, unless he performs here in the sprint race, could be dropping from second in the championship all the way down to fourth.
Yeah, Rooter, I think, is on 9 points, I think, out on track. It was gained 9 points, and Rocco obviously started in 6th. Has gained, or finishing third, he's gained 20 points. It's 14 points. The gap to me, 5 points, maybe? Maybe even he's overtaken him? I don't know. But anyways, we're going to get going. Yeah, Verstappen's definitely gone into second in the championship, but we are about to get going. Of course, the 5 red lights are finally coming on here tonight in Liga Europe for the sprint race. Long haul, but it's lights out and away we go, and Zernimer gets a good start. Larkin gets the better start, though, when he actually squirrels off the line, and he's overtaken by Nathan, and Verstappen tries to go all the way around the outside through turn 1. Rocco didn't get the greatest start in the world either, but Verstappen tries to go all the way around the outside of Toxic. Toxic is the one that's dropping all the way down the field, down into 5th. Campbell down into 7th as well, but Verstappen and Toxic side by side on the run down in towards turn 4. Toxic is side by side with him, gets a better traction on the exit, and Toxic, I think, is going to have this one all the way down in towards Memorial Corner at 7. Zernimer leads the way. Nathan putting pressure on Zernimer. Tries to clean Salem all the way around the outside. This is the lay on the brakes from Nathan. Forced out wide, and he's not going to get the run. Larkin indeed has got the run though, but he's boxed in, and actually Toxic Verstappen. It could cause a little bit of Constantina in behind. Rocco was through. Nathan tries to go all the way around the outside of Zernimer again through turn 8. Look at the run that Toxic's got. Toxic now on the outside line into the Singapore sling. He's going to just briefly be in third, but for how long? Zernimer leads, Nathan in second, Toxic still hanging this on the inside line now. Larkin surely he's going to get the move done, and he has, and there's a little bit of Constantino effect. I think Pharrell Fury might have picked up a little bit of damage further down the field as Campbell dives on Rocco.
Yep, Campbell and Rocco having a ding-dong battle in Sector 2. Absolutely fantastic to see Rocco keeping this position though for the time being, but for how long? Because Campbell is really putting him under pressure this early on.
Put him under a lot of pressure, and Zernimer leading the way. Nathan in second. Toxic trying to put Larkin under pressure as well. Great start here in the sprint race. This is what we like to see. More clean action out on track. Zernimer, Nathan, Larkin your top 3. Toxic, Verstappen, Rocco, Campbell, Rooter, RGW, Giorno and Pharrell Fury your top 11. RGW's dropped a few positions off the start as well. I think he's dropped 3 positions off the start. Nathan though trying to challenge Zernimer for the race lead. Nikita Mazepin against Zernimer, and of course in front of both of them, teammates, both the high-techs. I would imagine that Zernimer is probably going to try and get this out on track, as race control says DRS is enabled.
Yeah, it's the glitch of the laps.
Yeah.
It's the glitch of the laps. It says lap 3 for me, but...
Well, it's lap 2, and it's leading the way from Nathan in second, and Nathan 0.3 of a second away from the back of Zernimer, and running down the straight now in towards Memorial Corner once again. Of course, you can see the flashing DRS sign on the right hand side. Look at Rooter as well. Rooter's right down the back of the field. He was trying to get onto the back of Campbell there, but looking in behind, Zernimer leading the way. Nathan in second. Toxic really close to the back of Larkin there. Campbell really close to the back of Rocco as well. Coming in towards turn number 8. Now on the run down towards Singapore Sling once again. Nathan pulls out of the slipstream on Zernimer. trying to warn he's there, but looks to me as if Toxic really wants to get on with this. He's trying to get the move done, unlocking just ahead.
Yeah, but what he's caught in the middle of right now, he's caught in a battle right now for 6th in the championship, because you've got Larkin, you've got Nathan and Zerdema so close to each other coming into tonight's race that they'll just want to outscore the other.
You would like to imagine so. I think it is going to be the case of drivers trying to go all out to try and maintain their position in the championship, and that's what it's going to be. Zerdema is controlling this race still nicely from the front, and Zerdema not often in these positions. He is essentially the man out on track that is going to carry himself possibly towards the win. We're going to go into lap 3 very soon and the DRS will be enabled. Nathan just getting caught a little bit squirrely out through turn 21. Toxic as well squirrely out of turn 21. Now through 22 and 3 you can see him carrying a lot of speed coming through the corner. Verstappen, Rocco, Campbell on the back of him as well. Everyone's stuck in a big old DRS train down to 9th. Jono in 10th, Pharrell Fury in 11th. They're pretty much out of contention. Pharrell Fury didn't have any damage, but he did lose position to Jono, and he's now dropping all the way down the field. He's right at the back.
Yep, and now are we going to see a move made for the lead of the race? DRS enabled now, as we are officially on lap 3.
We are now officially on lap 3, and nobody is close enough for a move. Out on track, Toxic's looking quite close on Larkin, but he's not close enough. Down in towards Memorial Corner once again. But Zerdema holding the fort at the minute. The two high-techs leading the way. Zerdema Nathan first and second. The MP of Larkin in third. The BWC of Toxic in fourth. And again, Toxic just pulls out the slipstream. Maybe to not warm up the brakes as much, because those brakes are going to be on fire. The tyres are going to be on fire as well towards the end of the race. And Toxic is just trying to get out, trying to cool his brakes down. On the run there, just in towards Singapore Sting. Larkin very close to a lock up there into the back of Nathan. But Larkin still in third. Toxic again just running out of the slipstream. You can see Larkin just moving out of the slipstream, and Toxic looks like he's got warm brakes. And speaking of warm brakes, he nearly went into the back of him.
Yeah, I think he just grazed the back of Larkin there. And
and Campbell fully into the back of Rocco. Luckily no damage.
Very fortunate there for Campbell. But I think in this position right now, I think Toxic is comfortable with this. He's got Verstappen and Rocco behind him. He's got Campbell ahead of Ruta. All his championship rivals are behind him right now. I think he's comfortable with this.
He's very comfortable with this. Zerdema just a little bit slow at the final corner. Nathan got caught on the curb there and has lost time to Larkin, and now Larkin trying to hunt him down. Onto lap 4 we go. Feels like we've been going for quite a while actually in this sprint race. Jono has picked up the first 3-second time, but leading the night out of the final corner. Zerdema leading the way, Nathan in second, Larkin in third. It is the Netherlands leading the Brits out on track. I wonder if that's going to be the same in Eurovision this weekend. Zerdema leading the way, Nathan in second, Larkin in third, Campbell all the way over the back though. Oh, Rocco, the Scotsman against the Brits ahead, and the Brit will be hoping to try and hold him off. On the run down in towards Memorial Corner, Campbell not close enough, and nobody close enough for a move, so it looks like it's going to be quite a boring sprint race as Campbell actually tries to switch it on the back of Rocco. Campbell's got pace, but he's struggling to get past him.
Yeah, but what Campbell is doing, he's putting Rocco off into as many positions as possible, because now look, Rocco, he's on the teetering edge of DRS on Verstappen.
He is 9 tenths away, yeah, 8 tenths away, but it looks like Rocco, with that little bit of clear air that he's got actually ahead, he'll begin to close up and just close right up into the back of Verstappen, and it's pretty much borderline a second, but he is within DRS zone on the run in towards turn 14. I'm not really sure why they have a DRS zone here, to be honest. There's literally no overtaking that happens. Certainly on this case as well. RGW is on the back of Ruta for 8th position. Jono dropping time, Pharrell Fury dropping time as well. But Zerdema still holding the lead of the race. Looks like Zerdema, though, has put Nathan off so much that Nathan is beginning to make mistakes in behind him. And Zerdema, to this stage of this race, is controlling it out in front. And this is more like it from Zerdema, because it looks like he's got full control over this race.
Yeah, I think the mind games between the teammates right now are starting to play out. Nathan, I think he feels that he does have the pace to get past and get ahead and get clear, but he wants to do it cleanly because obviously this is his teammate he's up against. And Zerdema wants to defend this as much as possible.
I think honestly he's got more than enough of a gap to defend that easily out on track, and Nathan is going to be the one that is going to pressurise maybe himself into making a mistake, and that's what we've seen so many times this season. He closes right up again to the back of Zerdem at 6/10 of a second, running down in towards Memorial Corner. Nathan completely outbreaks himself this time, and look, he's just
Toxic.
outdone it, and yeah, Toxic down the inside on a Larkin, tries to get the move done down in towards 7, tries to get the move done, and Toxic in the wall! Toxic in the wall, right side end plate damage on the car, opposite side to where he picked it up in the feature race, right side end plate damage on the car, and now Toxic back behind Verstappen, and Toxic down into 5th, and he's now going to be the one that's going to cause a right old train with Rocco and Campbell in behind.
Yeah, and I think at this moment, Rocco right now, I've said this line before, eyes are as wide as dinner plates.
Zernemer, though, has broken out of DRS ahead of Nathan, and Zernemer is flying. He set a purple middle sector through the middle sector, and Zernemer is controlling this race, and this is something that we haven't seen from him so far this season in Formula 2, especially around such a hard, difficult track to overtake as Singapore. He's putting daylight now between himself and his teammate, and it just looks like Nathan is just maybe pushing it over aggressively to try and catch the back of Zernemer. He's pulled away from Larkin in 3rd, but he's putting himself under so much pressure. Nathan, I think, it's probably in his own head to not try and get the move done on Zernemer, because he's just too far back at this stage. Bruce has set the new fastest lap of the race, but it just seems to me as if Nathan, like so many times this season, yeah, he's on the back of Zernemer by 7.5 tenths, but he's putting himself under pressure and he's getting into his own head, and that's why he's not closing up.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there with Nathan putting himself under pressure. However, the one thing that was kind of robbed off, we didn't get to see Zodema much in the feature race, because obviously he had the issue with lacking out of the session and the glitched lobby. So maybe Zodema just had naturally the pace here at Singapore, but ended up towards the back due to the connection issue.
Well, as soon as I've said that, by the way, Nathan's caught up by about 3-4 tenths of a second. It's now right on the back of Zernemer, running across the Anderton Bridge, but Zernemer just carries so much speed. You saw it there. Running with Nathan. You saw it there. Rocco, by the way, is right on the back of Toxic, and Campbell and Ruta now ganging up on the back. Toxic has now let more than a second off the back of Verstappen, who's now going to go for the move on Larkin down to the outside line, in towards turn 14. Larkin breaks later than Verstappen. Verstappen on the outside line, though, should get the traction. There should be move done for the Dutchman, and it is the move done for the Dutchman. Verstappen is through, and he's into 3rd position. Great move by Verstappen, pinpoint accurate, and now he can try and close in on Nathan, which hopefully he can.
Yeah,
oh, is that? I thought Campbell hit the wall there and picked up damage. Ignore me. No damage.
Visually from what I've seen. Yeah, so see right now, Toxic, we saw that Larkin and Verstappen able to build that gap over a second, and we see it now in the final corner. Look how much time he's losing, and Rocco all over the back of him now. Is he close enough to make a move down into turn 1?
No. But he does run out wide though, and look, Toxic, that damage through a left-handed corner is really, really costing. There's more right-handed corners luckily around here than left-handed corners, but Rocco is now right on the back of Toxic, running for P5, and Toxic, that was actually Nathan's right on the back of Zernemer, and where's this came from? Nathan, all the way around the outside, tries to get the move done on his own teammate, he's just barely off track. Nathan on the inside line, dives it down the inside line. Nathan gets the car stopped. It's clean from Nathan. What a move that is. And Nathan strangles the lead of the race onto lap 7 of 12. Nathan strangles the lead of Zernemer. And that came from absolutely nothing. Nathan has just showed ultimate pace to take the lead. Really impressive stuff. Nathan leading the way. Zernemer in 2nd. Verstappen in 3rd. Larkin, Toxic, Rocco, Campbell, Ruta, RGW, Yono and Pharrell Fury, but Zernemer now trying to hunt him back down on the run and towards turn 14, but he is not close enough. Nathan now leading, Zernemer in 2nd, Verstappen in 3rd, but Nathan, great move on Zernemer, gets the lead. As Verstappen trying to get onto the back as well. He's beginning to close in that clear air. Really beginning to find himself. Third position for the Dutchman at this stage. He's pulled 2.2 seconds to Larkin, who's holding up Toxic. Toxic, of course, with that damage as well. But really beginning to excel out on track. That's a terrible pun. Toxic, a 3-second time penalty. Nathan still under pressure from Zerdemer, who gets caught on the curb and has lost 0.5 of a second pretty much down the straight. Nathan now leading the way. Zerdemer second. Verstappen though, new fastest lap of the race. He's really beginning to close in.
Yeah, Verstappen closing up massively on.
Rocco's round. Rocco's round, and Campbell and Ruta are going side by side as well, coming out of turn 3. I think Campbell might have caught up in a collision there with Rocco, and Ruta is now through and he's into 6th. Toxic through and he's into 5th. Rocco now all the way down in 9th position. I wonder if that got caused by a bit of contact, or if he spun up purely on the outside curb out of turn 1. It looked to me, when I came on board with him, he was on the outside line through turn 1 and he'd already spun the car, as RGW goes very deep on the back of Campbell.
Unfortunately, I missed it, so I don't want to make any calls on it, but it is unfortunate for Rocco. Now he's got a decent amount of work to do, and he could still gain some points here on Toxic in terms of the championship. But right now he's behind Ruta, who's a man that he would want to finish ahead of in this race.
He is definitely a man, but look at Campbell diving it down the inside on Ruta. Tries to get the move done. The Scotsman's through. That came from absolutely nothing as well. Ruta down into 7th position. He might have maybe slight damage on the car, but Campbell is through. He absolutely sent that across the Anderton Bridge, down into the hairpin. Job done, he's up into 6th.
Yeah, and I wonder if that was more for Toxic's gain than
Campbell's. Ruta! Oh my god, Ruta nearly spun the car through turn 17! And RGW side by side with him, and then they're still side by side underneath the grandstand. Now towards turn 22, 20 and 21, Ruta is still hanging on. And Ruta's still in 7th position. How on earth? He saved that car though from literally spinning into the wall, I do not know. Campbell's chasing down Toxic. Toxic chasing down Larkin on the run down in towards turn 1. We've got 3 races and 1. Nathan Zerdeman for Verstappen for the race lead. Larkin, Toxic, Campbell for 6th. For 4th, 5th and 6th. And Ruta, RGW and Rocco for 7th, 8th and 9th.
Yeah, and this battle for Ruta, RJ and Rocco, this really is more of a battle for 5th place at the moment.
It is, and here comes RGW run on the back. Toxic as well, run on the back, but lets through Campbell. Campbell through and he's into 5th. RGW, though, getting the clean move done. Down the inside line goes the brakes. Forcing Ruta off track. A little bit of a hitbox there, if I've got to be honest, but RGW is through, and he's into 7th position. Ruta, Rocco, now falling in behind. Verstappen is running side by side, nearly with Zerdeman. Ooh! If he got any closer to that wall on the left-hand side, he would have been in it. Verstappen, so close. Zerdeman defended that for his life, and it nearly put Verstappen off enough for him to go into the wall and pick up left side end plate damage, as Campbell nearly launches it, unlocking around the outside. Ruta is still on the back of RGW as well, but Campbell pressurising himself into more mistakes, I think. Nathan leads, Zerdemer second, Verstappen in third. Nathan has not sealed this race. Even though he got that move done on Zerdemer, he has not sealed this race, and it looks like, again, he might just be getting himself into his own head, and Zerdemer and Verstappen are still there, and are still there, chasing him down.
Yeah, and for Nathan, if he can hold on here, this will be big for Nathan's confidence moving forward, because he does have a habit of losing it when he's in a prime spot to take the win of a race. So he'll want to really come through here, as Verstappen is really now putting the pressure on.
Oh, and here comes Campbell as well on the back of Larkin, down the inside line. Larkin's got damage right side end plate, and Campbell is now through, or left side end plate I should say, for Larkin. Campbell through and he's into 4th, very easy move.
Yeah, back up towards the front, Verstappen did a good run out the corner. It is a good run, but I think with DRS that Zulema has on Nathan, he's just not going to get close enough.
He is, and you've got to be within 0.3 of a second to try and launch a move down into the Memorial Corner. I'll tell you what, though, Verstappen is close now, down the inside line, tries to force the issue. Zerdemer holds on for second at this stage. Nathan leading the way. Zerdemer second. Verstappen, though, gets a really good run. This could be it. Down the inside line and towards the Singapore Sling. He was close to the wall last time. Is he close to the wall this time? No, he dives it down the inside line, tries to get the move done, all the way around the outside into the Anderson Bridge. This will be bold and brave from Verstappen. Zerdemer gets a bit of a half spin, and Verstappen is through. Verstappen through. That could have ended up in T, as it didn't. And Verstappen is now through, and he's into second, but he's outdone himself into the hairpin, and now Zerdemer's chasing him back down. Zerdemer now through the outside line. Is he going to try and lunge it on the brakes? Verstappen on the inside line. Zerdemer tries to clean sail him all the way around the outside. It's not good enough, and Verstappen now hangs on for second. All of that battling, though, has suddenly let Nathan grab away by 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, and I think that little half spin from Zerdemer just slowed both him and Verstappen down enough over the bridge that Verstappen lost DRS range to Nathan, which allowed Zerdemer to really try it around the outside there. But great stuff from the pair of them.
I'll tell you what, Nathan leading the way, but Verstappen in second, and Zerdemer now is on the back foot. After such a good performance in the early stages, he is now under pressure. Can Verstappen reel in Nathan at this stage? Penultimate lap of the race in the sprint race here in Singapore, and it's Nathan leading the way. Verstappen in second. Personally, if I've got to be honest, I don't think Verstappen's got the pace. He's 1.1 seconds off the back of Nathan, and Nathan just looks like he's got an element of control now over the race. Phil Fury, by the way, is into the pit lane, possibly to pit in for a set of Supersofts to go for the fastest lap attempt. RJDW and Toxic are now having a fight all the way down in towards Memorial Corner at turn 7, and now Toxic, RJW to the inside line, doesn't pull off the move. Toxic gets caught on the outside curve though, and RJW is going to come sailing through, and Toxic just lets them through. Toxic now through, down in 8th position. Yeah, you let the Rockwell through as well. I think, to be honest, probably the smartest move if you got damage.
Yeah, absolutely, but I wonder how forgiving Toxic would be to Ruta, who's now the next car behind him.
It's going to be a fascinating final lap of the race, and yet Verstappen has not got the pace on Nathan at all. It's a second. He is just barely within DRS range though, and it's 0.9 of a second down towards the end of the middle sector, and Verstappen's purple in the middle sector. Do not rule Verstappen out just yet. He is trying to latch Nathan onto that fishing reel as if he's a cod in water, and Nathan leading the way. Verstappen in second. I could have used other fish, but I thought that was the best one to use. Verstappen's on the back of Nathan. Onto the final lap we go, but Nathan looks like he's got this race maybe within his reach.
Yeah, Nathan, he's holding the gap. He just seems to be more comfortable in the final sector compared to Verstappen, which is crucial because he gets out of DRS range down the main straight, and as long as he has a good turn 1 and 2 and 3, he should be able to hold on and not have Verstappen in his DRS down the main DRS straight, turn 7.
And by the way, we'll have a discussion about this, but I've literally just seen the announcement of the Formula 1 icon drivers that's going to be in the new game. Some of them are not icons, but I've got to be honest, RJW is right on the back of Larkin, 5th and 6th position, and RJW now Division 2 champion from last season, right on the back of Larkin. He now switches the inside line. He's going to have to go for this one. RJW late on the brakes, down the inside line. Can he get the car stopped? He does. Larkin's going to be switching him back, although on the outside line. And RJW now is going to hold him off, down on the inside line. Gets caught on the curb. Larkin's still on the outside line. Surely RJW, hand of rage comes from RJW. Verstappen's right on the back of Nathan as well, nearly in the wall. Because RJW, and now nearly 3 wide. It's Rocco's right on the back of them. RJW now fighting side by side with Larkin. Tries to go all the way around the outside of the camera. The corner really does not like RJW as Rocco tries to hang it on the inside line. Gets the move done. Has he? He has. Rocco is through. What a move by Rocco, but look at the top end of the field. Nathan is now under pressure from Verstappen, and Verstappen's pace has suddenly picked up in the final lap of this race. It is going to come down to an absolute climax here in Singapore. Nathan leads the way, Verstappen in second, but for how long can Nathan hold him off? He's only got 6 more corners to go. Underneath the grandstand, through turn 19. Verstappen, I don't think is close enough. Nathan through 20, through 21, and with all of that, Nathan is going to absolutely deserve this win. Nathan around the final corner, Verstappen still chasing him down, but Nathan has won in Singapore. Retribution, Verstappen in second, Zernem, a great drive from him in third. Rocco is nearly side by side with Larkin. He could be, he could switch it back. Larkin and Rocco to the line, nearly a photo finish. Rocco hangs on just for 6th position, 600ths of a second between 5th and 6th. Larkin in 5th, Rocco in 6th, RGW 7th, Ruta 8th, Toxic all the way down in 9th, Yono in 10th, and Pharrell Fury waiting on. He is going like the clappers in the middle sector, but Nathan hangs on for Verstappen. Zernemer in 3rd. That just comes to show, no matter how many drivers you have here in Liga Group Division 2, Division 1 I should say, in Formula 2, you always get treated to a good race like that.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously a fantastic drive from Nathan. He kept his head when we've seen him lose it so many times, especially when he gets an instant in the feature race like what happened with him and Toxic.
Oh, I think we need to take our breath. Pharrell Fury across the line, new fastest lap of the race set by Pharrell Fury, and he comes across the line to finish in 11th position. What a race! What an absolute thriller. Campbell awarded driver of the day by the in-game fans. He drove well. I don't think he drove well enough though for my overall driver of the day. But to the top step of the podium, it's relentless Nathan to the top step of the podium so many times. He has bolted it from the lead. He hasn't this time, and he's won.
Yeah, and that must feel very satisfying for Nathan. As I was just alluding to then, we've seen so many times he gets an instant that takes him out of a race-winning predicament in the feature race, and he loses his head when it comes to the sprint race.
But he didn't lose his head. We were saying it so many times in that sprint race. He could have lost his head, and he was getting himself into his own mistakes. He was just making slight mistakes out on track. But when the pace came, it really came, and Nathan has won duly out on track, and he takes the sprint race win from Verstappen in second. Verstappen, if he had another lap, he would have got him, I think. Zernemer in third. Campbell, fastest lap of the race, apparently in fourth. I'm not sure if that's accurate. Larkin in fifth.
No,
Rocco in sixth. Yeah, Pharrell Fury got fastest lap, I should say. Larkin in 5th, Rocco 6th, RGW in 7th, Ruta 8th, Toxic with 3 seconds worth of penalties in 9th, Yono ran off the top 10, Pharrell Fury down there in 11th. Overall race results, though, for the weekend, Campbell, Verstappen, Nathan top 3. Toxic, despite qualifying, he only picked up 14 points for us out on track. Of course, that's different according to the official standings that we've got here in Formula 2, but 14 points... compared to the likes of Verstappen, Verstappen has outscored Toxic, however way you look at it, out on track.
Yep, Verstappen has pulled in some big points in this championship, and he is well clear now in second place, and I think it is very close between Rocco and Ruta for third. I couldn't tell you right now off the top of my head who's ahead, but I think it's only a matter of maybe a couple of points in it.
Oh, what an absolute thriller. Out on track. We really hope you've enjoyed it. I know we picked up to like 11, 12 viewers at one stage. Really does not get the definition. I know there's PSGL and everything on a Monday night, but hopefully LOE Formula 2 has provided you with the action out on track, and we hope that, honestly, we have given you the rest, the greatest action out on track for tonight. Quickly though, before we end the stream, Mike, who was your driver of the day?
I gotta give it to the first podium of the season for RGW. I gotta give it to him.
Yeah, RGW drove really great race. Even in the sprint race, he drove well. And RGW, yeah, I've got to agree, he gets my driver of the day vote as well. Of course, we go to Austria next week. 3 rounds to go, which means 3 more Mondays for me and Mike in the commentary booth. And hopefully you're going to be seeing us again next week, of course. LOE ACC and LOE PC are happening, of course, on Friday night, 7 PM and 8 PM. 7 PM for LOE ACC, 8 p.m. for LOE PC. And then we have the Division 1 season finale, along with Division 2, 3, 4, and 5. But the significant other, Division 1 season finale, Montana already wrapped up the championship, of course, without even racing. It came down to a thriller in Belgium. What is going to happen in Brazil? You'll just have to wait and see. Of course, 6:40 for Division 1, 3, and 4, Division 2 and 5 at 8:10. And for anybody that is racing in Division 2 and 5, unlucky, you're missing Eurovision. Simple as that. But,
I don't care.
Oh, well, I do care. I really hope we finish on time on Saturday night, because I am going to stuff myself full with a lot of crisps and award 12 points, possibly to a random country that I've never heard of before. That's how Eurovision goes. But thank you so much for tuning in tonight to LOE. We, of course, will see you once again next week for more action from myself and Mike. Please take care of yourselves in this crazy world that we all live in. And until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.